All right, let's bang. Why is this up with my name? Hang on. There. Let's take that off. There we go. What's up, everyone? How are you? My name is Luke Thomas. This is going to be the official, my official, Canelo-Crawford Watchalong. And then once the fights are over, we're going to immediately launch into the post-fight show. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. Let me turn that down a little bit. Oops, that's a little too much. There we go. Just right. All right, so as I speak to you now, here comes Callum Walsh. His opponent, Fernando Vargas Jr., is already in the ring. Now, you might be saying, Luke, didn't you say that this broadcast of yours was going to go at 10:30 p.m. Eastern? I did. But that was based off of information that was given to me, which was that the main event ring walks would happen around 11 p.m. or so for the main event. And it's 11:30, and we're getting the ring walks for the co-main event. Dana White talked an absolute gang of shit about how boxing broadcasts are slow and delayed. And I'm not even in a position to necessarily disagree. But if you're going to say all that, and then this is what they told the media. The media was like, oh, yeah, ring walks will happen, give or take around 11 p.m. East Coast time on Saturday night. Like, these are the benchmarks they were setting. Not us. They were setting. And then now you're like grossly over the line. Listen, I'll say this. The broadcast looks fantastic on Netflix so far. Knocking on wood. My stream looks, there's no buffering issues like there was, obviously with the previous Netflix fight. And I'm happy to get this thing going. But Jeebus Christ, everybody, what has happened with the timing of this event? This is insane. Absolutely insane. So, I don't know what to tell you. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. I don't think we're going to get ring walks till another hour. I mean, if this ends in a round, that's different. But if this goes the distance, this is scheduled for 10 rounds. It's scheduled for 10 rounds. If this goes 10 rounds, we're not going to get we may not get a main event start time till 1 a.m. It's possible. It's possible. So buckle up, everybody. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. Thumbs up if you're watching. Hit subscribe. All that fun stuff. Here we go. Callum Walsh, Fernando Vargas, 24-28. You get the idea. All right. Michael Buffer, looking like the Crypt Keeper. Hey, I got a picture today of Max Kellerman talking about Riyadh season and TKO. You want to see the picture I got? Hang on. Check this out. Look at this picture I got of Max Kellerman talking about Turkey and TKO. Can you believe it? I mean, look how accurate that is. Right? There's Max. This is Max Kellerman when it's time to talk about Turkey or TKO right there. Amazing. All right, here's Fernando Vargas, 17-0. I've seen him box a couple times. He's okay. He is, of course, the son of royalty. From Oxnard, California. I am now boozing. I mean, I've had 2 sips, but drink them if you got them, boys and girls. Salute to all of you for being here. And thank you for the folks who joined me for the Noche UFC broadcast. And then now this. So as just a reminder, we're going to watch the co-main. I have a round timer. We're going to watch the main. And then we'll do the post-fight show. That's the order of business. Here's Callum Walsh. Folks have asked me, is Callum Walsh any good? And the answer is, he's not bad. I don't know exactly how good he is. I'm a little skeptical. He's got a super high upside, but I can't rule it out. It's possible. All right, let me get the that's the right one. Yeah, okay. And I gotta say, the event looks beautiful on TV, doesn't it? Like the Netflix quality of the broadcast is high. All right, there we go. Oh, and now my thing is buffering. Perfect. All right, let's go. Right on time. Now it's buffering. Out of nowhere, it's buffering. Here we go. Round one. There we go. Round one. This is the co-main of Walsh and Vargas. All right, so let's see how this goes. Two southpaws. Look at that. There's Dana next to Turkey, getting lots of camera time. What do you guys think of the broadcast so far? I think, I'm killing Max Kellerman for his the way he sort of talks about his bosses. However, he is a phenomenal boxing commentator. He's very good. Him, Ward, and Anik, I like. If we keep getting the issue of the flickering screen, I'm going to change some stuff up here. Lots of heavy movement. The last bout that we had between Martinez and Mbili was quite the opposite. You know what? I might do that now. Hang on. I'm going to set it up now. I'm not even going to take a chance. He slipped. Not a knockdown. He slipped. They're definitely not going to be moving this much if this fight goes the distance. This is an insane amount of walking around. Canelo's got a real economical style. Switch this up. This is fucking insane. Let's close this up. Yeah, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to switch this up. Let's hit that live. Here we are. Okay. There we go. All right. I think my clock is off, so I'm going to kill it. And we'll get this going for round. Just for some of these things, I got to work out some of the kinks in this whole thing, but we're doing it. We're making it work. All right. Let's get this plugged in. All right. All right. There's Freddie Roach in the corner. God damn it. Round two. I apologize for the intermittent freezing. I am not exactly sure where that's coming from. Walsh leaping in with some shots to the body. Man, Walsh is fucking big. Look at these blitzes from Walsh. High guard. I've seen Yo, the shit about it freezing is killing me. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not sure what the issue is. All right, how are y'all doing out there? Everyone chilling? Here, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's take this off. Well, we'll go to some of your questions here between rounds. Can I be honest? I don't really care about this fight that much. Do y'all? Oh, here we go. Yes. Believe me, I know. Believe me, I know. I don't know what the issue is. My internet is blazing. So the problem before was I had Comcast and they were just unreliable. Like the connection to the house was falling apart. Like the infrastructure. So I switched to Verizon, and it's very, very fast. Like if I did like a speed test, it'd be blazing, but it's just dropping it intermittently, and I don't have a clear sense of why. That's the issue. You heard Skipper talking about how Walsh just kind of like jumping in with these big bursts and then getting out. That's exactly what we were just talking about. Hey, how long before TKO starts making them wear kits? There we go. This is the same referee, by the way, from Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, which was not one of his stronger performances, but in general has been a pretty good ref. Nor am I expecting that kind of fight, though, right? So it's a little bit different. Army of Meth, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Tricks36 says, disappointed to see Max sell out like this. What's your price, Luke? I don't know. That'd to be a lot. Currently watching from Ireland, it would suck being a European fight fan. Yes, it certainly would. I mean, I think the reality is like, dude, if you want a job on television in boxing, there's not many that you can get if you're not willing to play ball with Saudi. It's just a reality. Like if you want to be on camera in boxing, this is not the case a few years ago when I started working with Showtime, but now it's pretty close. It's not totally true, but it's going to be exceedingly difficult. If you want to call fights in boxing, you just have to do it. Oops, let me get this going. I'll come back to that. And then we'll speed this one up a little bit. How am I? I'm 5 seconds behind. I'll speed it up. I'm a little bit behind. What's happening here? All right. I'm a little bit behind. I'm not sure what's happening there either. Jesus, what the fuck? I'm about 5 seconds off. What I really don't care about is this. It's a co-main. I just don't want this to fuck up during the main. So, I apologize. I'm not sure what the issue is, man. I genuinely don't get it. There's Mr. Beast, Jason Statham, Turkey, Dana, and Ari Emanuel. That's who's sitting back there. I'm not sure who the guy on the far left is. Walsh leading with a high guard, pushing in, going to the body. Doesn't seem like Vargas is really building much of an attack. A little bit there with that right hook. Ooh. I do like that body work from Walsh thus far in the bout. It's like, but this is the problem with the pacing, right? Like, does it look like we're on pace for a knockout or fuck even a knockdown? They're gonna have this bout. They're gonna have this bout at 2 in the morning. They're gonna have this bout at 2 in the fucking morning. Mm. Ooh, good 1-2 there from Walsh. Lots of heavy body work from Walsh. I mean, he looks to be the better guy, right? All right, that's round 2, 3. Where are we at this point? Hang on, let me see something here. There we go. That was what I needed. Okay, I got it fixed now. All right. Boop. There we go. All right, let's get back to these questions. I apologize. Sorry, guys. Just working out some of the kinks. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Michael says, I can't tell it's a big event because both of my 60-year-old parents are watching and they don't give a shit about combat sports. Oh, I can't tell. Yeah, I had a bunch of friends, like casuals, being like, hey, what time is the fight? Like, should I watch? Is it going to be good? Blah, blah, blah. Actually, my good sir says, is Zionism the worst base for MMA? I can't imagine it's super helpful. There's Devin Haney and Bill Haney. They're not loved by many. All right, here we go. There's Julio Cesar Chavez. All right, round 4. There we go. Yeah, round 4. We're not even close to a fucking knockdown. You know what I'm saying? Do we care that much? Do we care that much? So what do y'all think of the broadcast so far? I'm okay. I doubt many people are very happy with the pacing. All right, fair enough. Do you share my view that it looks beautiful, right? Like it looks so crisp and clean on your screen. I think there's like a decent crowd there. There appears to be a shit ton of celebrities. I mean, it looks fun. All right, now they're in front of each other a little bit more. Oof. Vargas whiffs on a left hand, nearly pays for it. Low shot from Vargas. Another low shot from Vargas. And now Walsh kind of returning the favor. I don't blame him. That's a better right hook there from Vargas to the body. What the fuck is that ad on the back of Walsh's trunks? Dios Azul? Blue God? Yeah, Walsh starting to crack through here a little bit. I promise I'll have more incisive commentary for the main event. Nice right hook from Walsh. That was good. Would like to see some guard peels here. It's, really a shame that Bud Crawford beat the bejesus out of Errol Spence because he was one of my favorite about getting guys to go high guard and then peeling it. Referee warns Vargas to pull his shots up. He's been needing to do that for a while. All right, round 4 in the books. Oh, yes. We already went over this one. Harvey, did you ever watch the Andor series? No. You know what I discovered? I don't like AI that much. I don't have much use for it, but I did find one incredible use for it, which is the deep research component of ChatGPT. I have been playing with prompts to put in to ChatGPT to ask like big questions about like what research shows about really important questions related to various forms of inquiries that I've had, you name it, and it is shockingly good. Hire BC to fix your tech, brother. Do you understand that BC barely knows how to turn on a phone? I know you guys seem to think that like I am like challenged in this way, and you're right, like I am challenged in this way, but compared to BC, I'm fucking Tesla, like the original inventor. Here we go, round 5. Let's go. Oh, here comes Max. Oh, Max, here we go. Hold on. Max, what do you think about Turkey and TKO getting together and, making the Muhammad Ali American Boxing Revival Act? Oh, hey, Max, you remember what you said at the presser that, like, literally if Turkey wasn't born, none of us would be here now? And everyone was like, wow, that's an incredibly weird fucking thing to say. Hey, Max, remember during the broadcast when you just kept mentioning the BMF belt and then finding ways to, shoehorn in blandishment of your superiors in a way that seemed both unnecessary and off-putting to the listeners? Fuck we doing, guy? The fuck are we doing? I mean, what is this shit? Like, lighten up, Francis, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm glad Max is there. I like Max. I'm glad he's there. It sounds like I don't because I'm killing him. It's just so insane how much he's doing this. But like, he makes the broadcast itself better. I do believe that, and I didn't like the way ESPN treated him, and I have relied on his boxing analysis many times. I think it is very trenchant and fun. But what the fuck, dude? Like, lighten up. When the UFC had their very first event on Fox, they didn't even show the co-main event on TV. They just showed the main. I'm being dead serious. They should only do main and co-main on Netflix for shit like this. Why did we have 3 bouts prior to a 12-round main event where each was 10 rounds? Like, and if we're going to do that, why did we start it at 9? That should have been started at 8. Yeah, so folks are asking me like, well, answer for yourself. Does Walsh look like a world beater to you? He doesn't look bad. I don't think he looks bad. I'm just not getting, next level vibes out of this. All right. Luke, tell the truth. Are you stealing? No, I've got my own Netflix account. It's just I've got something. I think I updated my I paid a fuck ton of money for this PC tower. It's real nice, but I updated something and it has fucked the connections, and I don't know exactly where and how. But that's really the issue. DC Wi-Fi is bad as the crime. No, dude, the Wi-Fi, in defense of the Wi, normally I'm the first person to kill the Wi-Fi. It's not the Wi-Fi, it's the computer. But I don't know exactly where in the software update something got fucked up. How in the hell is Akhmadaliev a plus 600 dog? Dude, I've been wondering this. What he's talking about is tomorrow, Muradjan Akhmadaliev is going to be fighting Naoya Inoue. And this is a fight that's been like anticipated for quite some time. I don't quite understand that either. I favor Inoue to win, but Akhmadaliev is real good. Here we go. Boom. All right, round 6, halfway done with this bullshit ass fight. So who do they got? Skipper's unofficial card has Walsh up. Yeah, that looks right to me. Oh, nice left hand from Vargas, finally. But it didn't look like it had a big effect. That body shot maybe did. Another good body shot from Vargas. Backs him up again. You know what? That right hand to the body from Vargas is doing a little bit of work. Oh, dude, leading with an uppercut, and he almost paid for it. Don't do that. Oh. Bro, is Turkey even looking at the fight? Who's doing one of these numbers? You know, like half asleep. I mean, dude, Walsh is putting pretty decent combinations together. He's putting more than 2 punches together at a time. I mean, yes, he just threw 2 there, but, you know, in general, he's a little bit more active with that. Vargas with some very Gen Z tattoos. He'd fit in well. Both of these guys would fit in well in MMA in terms of their tattoos. See, right there. They went head to head. Somebody guard peel. Somebody guard peel. Ooh, good one too. Or sorry. Yeah, good one too. Oof. Look at Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast looks like he's like, what's a way I can exploit the size of this audience and the people individually for fuck games? Oh, super low blow from Walsh. And you see him complaining to the ref. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get back to some of these. Good night of fights overall. The Martinez and Mbili fight was great. It was a breath of fresh air for me in boxing. I'd care for Walsh. Cheers. Thank you for being here, my friend. Aaron says, Netflix quality on TV is top tier, the best maybe. I have to say, I do think it is fucking beautiful. I love it. I think it's so crisp and clean. Replays are fast. Oh, it's a great bop over the top from Walsh. Nice shot. And slips off the line, comes underneath the elbow, comes over the top. That's a great combination. Well done. Well done. Trick says, WWE announced 2027 WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. I saw that. Female wrestler is going to have to work 15, 20 minutes in full latex bodysuits in the desert. Yeah, man. TKO is about that Saudi cash. Whatever else you want to say about them, they love it. All right, here we go. Round 7. We're off. Round 7. I'm going to move this up a little bit. For just this fight, I'm going to move it up a little bit so we can keep some of these going. $11:47. Well, now it's 11. Now it's midnight, And it's only the fourth round of Walsh and Vargas. Got me thinking about that Sean Porter quote. It's a long way from the lip to the cup. Yes. Dude, they're killing me with this shit. Killing me. Christian says, yeah, thanks, Christian. I hadn't thought about that. Until you wrote this message, I hadn't even considered. I hadn't in any way consulted professional services. I hadn't done any kind of research about until you wrote this message. I hadn't even thought about it. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that. Tony says, how often do your wife and abuela reminisce about Colombian boxing legend Pambele? Not many, not often. Only when we're in Cartagena and there's a mural to his name is Kid Pambele, and there's a mural for him in this neighborhood called Hetsamani. So we pass by that, they'll say something, but short of that, they don't do shit. Darren Till stops both of these dudes. You mean like at a traffic light? What are we talking about here? Dave says, I was going to ask earlier, is Turkey always this disinterested? I've yet to see him looking at the fight in front of him. I don't know exactly. I would just say that in general, he gets animated when like there's somebody he wants to win who's not winning. Like when Hamza Shiraz was not doing great, he jumped in. They keep talking on the broadcast how there's something in the air, and I'm like, whose air? There was one good fight on this card so far. This is not a terrible fight, but this is not a good fight. You know what I mean? And then Ward goes, it's been a good fight. It's been an all right fight. I mean, Walsh just seems a little slicker, a little rangier, a little bit readier. Yeah, just a little bit better. Carl says, yes, the crowd sounds great, contrary to most of the big Saudi boxing events. It actually makes more of a difference than I used to think. It makes a big difference. I didn't think it made a huge difference either. And then, well, at first. And then you realize that like especially when you got someone like Canelo, who's going to have a very devoted fan base, a Mexican fan base, losing that when he was competing against Skol in Saudi was terrible. Is Canelo versus Crawford the second biggest fight of the century? Obviously, Mayweather-Pacquiao was bigger. It's hard to say without exact one-to-one comparisons because it's not on pay-per-view. I don't feel like it is. I feel like May-Mac is bigger than this. People are saying this is as big as Mayweather-McGregor. I don't think that's right. I don't think that it is. It's very big, but it's not like that. All right, here we go. Round 8, wherever the fuck we are. Round 8, boys and girls. Zenpai, when are we going to see LT get some of that Saudi money? He needed LT Turkey collab. Yeah, I don't think he's a big fan of your boy. Dana and Turkey have screens in front of them. That's where they're looking. Ah, all right. That makes a little bit more sense. All right, fair enough. And I guess there's a bunch of people ringside now. It gets harder every year to justify watching MMA looking at who is in the front row. Yeah, dude, tell me about it. I do this shit for a living. They could have done without the first fight of the night because Martinez and Billy was good. They're trying to build Walsh. I get it. And then you go right into Canelo-Crawford. That's what they should have done. That's what they should have done. But they didn't. So we're kind of fucked. What the hell does Gen Z tattoos mean? I see tribal style from Walsh and semi-realism from Vargas. That is not tribal from Walsh. That is a fucking Gen Z tattoo. At every stage of the time, there are dominant trends in tattoos. When I was graduating high school, going into college, barbed wiring was common. Getting Asian lettering was common. That's still to a degree you can see that, but it was much more common back then. So you had tribal tattoos, you had barbed wire tattoos, you had there's a certain kind of aesthetic or styling or whatever, and it changes over time. And so now what you see is both the placement. So you'll see neck and chest pieces and then full sleeves, but nothing typically around the belly. Often the back can be empty. That's exactly what you have here. And he's got this Roman kind of gladiator shelling that kind of signifies I'm a Roman gladiator. This is a very, very, common tattoo among young athletic types. And when I say young, I mean 25 or less. That's very, very, very common. You see this kind of a thing. I mean, there's some older guys who have it too, but this is much, much more common now along this way. These are Gen Z style of tattoos. And Vargas has the lettering going down the side of his face. This is Gen Z style. This is a style of tattooing. Sorry, it's many different kinds of styles of tattooing, but certain aesthetic preferences that get kind of borne out generationally. This is a very clear example of it. So far, disappointed with these fights. Bad debut for Dana. Yeah, not great. Well, technically, this is Turkey's event. But yeah, I agree. It looks nice. I'm all set for the main event. I know you guys are all set for the main event, but this could have been done a lot better. Is it just me, or are all combat sports in a bit of a lull for the past 5 years? Past 5 years, no. Right now, yes. Yes. Michael Chandler, Fez, and Mark Anthony attendance. I did see that. Bro, I didn't realize Mark Anthony gets mad respect in Latin America. We might be asking how widespread is the love of Mark Anthony in Latin America. I'm no Latin American expert, but to the extent that I've been exposed, it's deep. They fucking love him. Okay, get this Contender Series fight off my screen, please. It's a good call. It is kind of what it is. All right, here we go. Arm tattooing has been popular since at least 05. Arm tattooing has been popular long before 05. Dude, do you think the argument that I am making is that people didn't get sleeves before 2005? That is not the argument that I am making. I'm 32 and almost got it, and I think, thank God I didn't. It's not that you saw it, dude, it's the ubiquity of it. There was a certain level of difficulty or taboo. Let's say when I was in high school, 98, college to 2002, you just didn't see it as much. It was expensive, hard to know what to get. There is much more ubiquity about it. Also, those are not even full sleeves. Walsh doesn't have the underside tattooed. He has only the top side tattoo. It's a partial sleeve, not even a full. The notion of getting sleeves done has been aided by a drop in social taboo, as well as an excelling and an advancement in tattoo technology and best practices as well. So it's not just that they have the sleeves filled out, it's that they have the neck, chest into the sleeve without the other subsequent components. Typically, if you saw someone in the 90s who had a sleeve, they would also have, they might have like a whole half body, or they might have their leg sleeve done as well, because they could be like Japanese tattooing proponents. Now you get much more of this kind of a thing. Guys, do you think young people get tattoo styles that were relevant in the 70s, or do they get tattoo styles relevant to the time in which they are young? It's a very basic question. What do you think? Do you think that what they think is cool is something that has been cool for a very long time, or something that has been cool for a relative to what their peers think? It's just same as music, same as hairstyling, same as what cars you drive, same as tattooing. It's all related generational. Stuff is more timeless. Yes, that's true. But a lot of the tattoo choices that young people make is a function of what is popular for tattooing for their age. Here we are. Vargas just continuing to go low. Luke, have you seen I Glazed? Oh, Max Kellerman's rap career in the 90s? I've seen like outtakes of it. Whatever. As a Gen Z person, I feel attacked with you knowing my tattoo placements on my arm and shin. I would add Gen Z do hip tattoos. Here's another Gen Z one. You ready? They'll get their date that they're born tattooed here, or they'll get it here, and they'll get it in like almost like an old English style of lettering, like a font. This is just people do what they do. Saudi Prince, Dana White, and Mr. Beast front row talking about blood rotation. Yeah, I agree. That's funny. Is Canelo-Crawford bigger than Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko? Certainly stateside. That felt really big at the time, but I'm not from the U.S. Definitely stateside. Definitely stateside. Definitely. John says, totally agree with you there. Gen Z is quick to tattoo the visible areas, and it looks so patchy. I'm old school. I have full Japanese suit. Well, see, that's the holy grail right there. The full Japanese suit to me is, people will disagree. Everyone's got different preferences. In my view, full Japanese suits are as the highest level of tattooing, and timeless. All right, let's see here. All right, there's Canelo getting his hands wrapped. Oh, fuck. Let me get the ring timer on. Where are we at? Let's see here. I'll speed it up. 247. A little bit more. There we go. Now we're up to date. Oh, man. Mr. Beast would 100% slobber on the blood. He looks like every dork in fucking high school, dude. I get it. He's like, insanely popular. People love him or whatever the fuck. But he looks like every dude that got bullied in high school, at least the high schools I went to. Zenpai says, is Turkey Al-Sheikh's model of spectacle fights sustainable, or is it short-term rush that could distort the fight economy long-term? Now fighters are unwilling to fight unless it's a 9-figure payday. How about this? Shaq said that Turkey told him that he's lost money, like every event. How do I say this? Shaq said that Turkey told him that every event he's put on in boxing, he's lost money on. Every single one. There's been no event he's ever made money on. So you have to ask yourself, what happens in that world where you've literally never made a fucking dime? Now, you might say, well, some of that is to be expected, which it is, of course. You're trying to make a big splash in the market. You're trying to gain control of the market. You're trying to make a big spectacle. Like, you're going to lose some money. But on every single one, what does that do to the market? What does that do to fighter pay preferences? What does that do to kill other promoters who can't keep up with that kind of a thing? But then, like, what you're doing it's not real. Like, it can't survive on its own. I don't know what to say about that, but that can't be good, right? Like, that just can't be. Good old-fashioned Gen Z or Gen X tramp stamp. Oh, you got one of them? That's another one, too. Bunch that used to get on their lower back. Typically girls, but not exclusive to them. Trick says, I'm at the tail end of millennials, 95, and I did want to get 1995 in Old English font. What did I tell you? Also have forearm and shin tats. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? So much of this stuff is just produced generationally. All right, here's the end of this bullshit ass fight that I don't care about. All right, well, that's over. Guys, it's 12:14 in the morning. We're going to get ring walks at what? 12:30? 12:45? Something like that? I'm going to have to plug this in because my shit's going to die. Let's see. Sorry, I got to plug this in. Let's do this. And then I'll take this out. There's Showtime, Sean Porter. We're big fans of him. There we go. All right. Now we're in good shape. All right. All that's left is the main event. We got through that, dude. So they got through 3 fights in 3 hours and 20 minutes. 3 hours and 20, dude, 3 hours and 20 minutes is a complete UFC pay-per-view. Think about it. When does the UFC pay-per-view start? It starts at 10 p.m. East Coast time. 11, 12, 1, 20, 1:20. Most UFC events, pay-per-view events are over by then. Not all, but most. Most. All right, let's get this decision like I give a fuck. Vargas is raising his hand like he won. All right. Callum Walsh, for those who care, wins by unanimous decision. Who gives a shit? All right, there we are. Breastfed, which has got to be a very strange name, says, I know you love Japanese, but for some gorgeous American traditional look at Rich Hart. Yes. American. So my 2 favorite styles are American traditional and then essentially just what you could consider Japanese traditional. Those are my 2 favorite styles. What do they say? They say bold will hold, baby girl. Bold will hold. There's Charlie Sheen. Doesn't he have HIV? There's Jeremy Renner. Oh, Sofia Vergara. I believe she's from Barranquilla. There's Stephen A. Smith. What am I saying? Stephen A. Smith. Wiz Khalifa. Tony Gonzalez. Oh, Tyron Lue. Sam Cassell. A Hitman. Dave Chappelle. Wearing the worst clothes I've ever seen. Charlize Theron. She's aging nicely. Michael J. Fox. Hell yeah, bro. Oh, we're going back to the desk? Great. With Mark Wahlberg, like I give a fuck. They've got the Ring magazine belt. They're shitting on the sanctioning bodies all. Dude, did you guys notice? So Canelo, I think, had his WBC belt. That's the green one. Like the kind of like that teal green one. he had it at the presser, but like, dude, you didn't see the sanctioning belts at all during this week. And what I mean by that is sometimes they're on display at media events. These guys are usually holding it at media events. Like the people who are from the WBC or whoever usually give like a speech at the presser and then like present the belt and shit. You didn't see any of that, and no one seemed to notice. Like, I mean, I'm sure the sanctioning bodies did, but like the fans of boxing did not seem to notice, did not seem to care. And listen, I've got real problems with them. Don't get me wrong. The sanctioning bodies are some of the worst offenders of like what ails boxing. Maybe the worst offenders. But if the American, Boxing Revival Act gets passed, you're just going to get promoter held titles, and that's to me not the improvement. But what are you going to do, bro? I was in Vegas this past week. I got home late last night. You guys have seen the news stories, right? Like, oh, Vegas is dead. Vegas is dead. Like, no one's there. And you're like, all right, well, how true is that? Because sometimes you hear about a place being messed up or whatever. Then you go and you're like, it's not so bad. And I went and I was like, it's fucking dead. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how dead. I can't say I've never seen it that dead, but that's probably, I can't remember the last time I saw it that dead. And the first time I went to Vegas was 1999. So I've been going for a long time. It was definitely not in good shape. For sure, I can say that. John says, did Jason Statham keep his sunglasses on because he's snoozing through these fights? Could you blame him? Could you blame him? Noah says, it's sports washing. Saudi needs to diversify their economy away from oil and gas. Look at the Saudi Pro League. They don't care about making money. Yeah, we cover sports washing extensively on this channel. Believe me, we know. We're just sort of, I don't know what to say anymore. We're sort of like, it's still relevant, but it's kind of an old thing that I have talked about this till I've been blue in the face, and people just don't care that much. But you're right. That's what it is. Do you think the Times Square card tanking changed Turkey's approach to stacking cards, or were his fight cards bound to regress to the mean? I can't say because we haven't had too many since then. And this is a bigger one in scope. Like the card with that, the Times Square card was not as big as this main event. This main event is big in a kind of singular way. But what I heard is that fight nearly didn't happen. That event nearly didn't happen many, many times that week. And that they ran into all kinds of problems with licensing and like what the police needed or whatever. And so they had to make, you saw like they had to board up everything and like no one could see. They had to make like all these concessions in order for that event to go forward. So it just kind of got messed up in the end, Guillermo asks, Luquito, who does Ilya debut against in the ring? I could not possibly care less. Dude, MMA fighter says thing. It's amazing to me that is a headline that you often see on MMA sites, considering that the words that tend to follow that headline are the most irrelevant, inane things you've ever heard in your life. It's like so-and-so comments on Charlie Kirk's death. It's like, you're just going to hear the dumbest fucking thing you ever heard in your life, right? MMA fighter says they'd run for office. Yeah, cool, man. Are they even, seriously, can the person who said that even read? I genuinely don't know that. Now, of course, sometimes they say things that are interesting, but this typically happens not in those framings like so-and-so says, X says Y, All right, here's Mario Lopez, Antonio Tarver, Mark Kriegel, and Mike Coppinger. Coppinger looking at the wrong camera for half that answer. Mario Lopez is good. He's good on camera. So if you don't know how this works, when they do these cameras, and they have, let's say they have 3 cameras or 4 cameras in front of you. This is quite common, right? What ends up happening is they have something called a trail light on there. So there's camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4. It might sound obvious, like what camera you look at, because there can be the one camera that you start on. This is the main camera, right? But then they'll have an ISO for you, and you don't know if you don't have a return monitor. You don't know if the camera's on you or not. So they have these lights on top that are supposed to tell you, hey, like whatever one is lit up, that's where you're supposed to look. Not all, there only one will be lit up at one time. So just follow that light. So I guess he wasn't following the trail light there. They're greasing him up. Why are they greasing him up? Are they greasing up Bud? What the fuck is this? Here's John Anik, the tuxedo, looking nice. All right, they got Canelo Alvarez on the DraftKings Sportsbook on the money line minus 170. By decision plus 125 to go the distance minus 370. Winner by KO, TKO, or DQ plus 380. All of those are higher for Crawford. He's at plus 140 on the DraftKings money line. Morpheus says, this might be more of a live chat question, but curious to hear your thoughts on the Fighting in the Age of Loneliness doc. Yeah, I had on Felix Biederman after that in studio on my SiriusXM show. I think it's one of the best pieces of sports journalism on video I've ever seen. I love it. I think very highly of Felix. And it wasn't just him, but that piece of work was tremendous. Juggy says David Lee Roth has a full suit and even moved to Japan to learn kendo. That's insane. Much respect. Yeah, that is insane, actually. Senpai, is Turkey even a prince? No. This is one thing people do. Turkey is not a royal. He makes people call him His Excellency. He is not a member of the royal family at all. He is not a royal. You don't have to call him that. I mean, you don't even have to call royal people that, but like, you know, if someone has said hey, you want to meet the King of England, you'd be like, all right, Your Highness, I'll do a little bit for you. I'll do a little song and dance just to be pleasant. But he's not even a royal. He's not even a royal. Who cares? Ryan says, Luke, I'm 26 and I have like 80% left leg sleeve. And then like my elbow is done and a few other random spots, mostly American traditional. There are exceptions that prove the rule, my friend. And it sounds like you have good tattooing taste. But in general, it goes one direction typically. Shane says, these fuckers are lucky I have to do my laundry. It's 12:30 and we've watched 3 fucking fights. It's like, oh my God, this is not great. This is not great. Ivan, how would you rate Noche UFC San Antonio? In my opinion, a major downgrade. Even worse, they had 2 Brazilians as the main event. Okay, but that fight banged. That fight was amazing. It's dude, like, what do you want me to say? Like, they went from the Sphere in Las Vegas with this gigantic, insane presentation with title fights, no less, to a fight night in San Antonio. Like it is a downgrade. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way to say that these are equivalent things. They're not equivalent thing in planning. They're not equivalent thing in stature. They're not equivalent thing in budgeting. Like, they're not equivalent things. So yes, it is a downgrade. And most of the card was not that interesting. The main event ruled. And I'm at the place in my life where I'm like, look, as long as you give me a solid main event, I'll shut the fuck up, which is going to go exactly for this fight too. Give me a solid main event. I'm still going to complain about the timing because I do think they need to get that right going forward. But in general, I'm not going to complain. 5:20 a.m. and I'm seeing Marky Mark show off a belt. Oh, that's awesome. Trick says, how many Americans gonna throat theocracy tonight? I'm not sure exactly what that means. Hopefully not many. I don't know. Fuck Charlie Sheen, this person writes. crazy. I'm not even going to repeat it. Allegations. I don't know anything about that, so I'm not going to like entertain it. You could be right. I don't know. But I'll just say, like, even without that, he seems like a sketchball, right? Not to be a hater, but that felt like sparring in front of a big crowd. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It absolutely did. All right. Look at this ad. They got Gervonta and Tank. Dude, I'm telling you guys, that fight is going to be bigger than this one. That fight's going to be bigger than this one. I know it's hard to believe. It's going to be bigger than this one. I'm telling you. All right, here we go. Finally, main event time. Fahad says, I'm Saudi and I'm happy to be attending all these events that I've never dreamed of attending. I think I understand your chat point of view of the matter, but for us, it's really refreshing to have it in our land. Listen, I understand, and I'm not mad at you for it. Like, you guys have never had this stuff, and now you have this stuff. But there's a couple problems. One is that, like, you might like it, but, like, so many of these Saudi events are poorly attended, right? There's, like, barely any people there. That's kind of one problem. And the other problem is that, like, fights that are good to maintain the health of the American market, I get it. Turkey's paying for it. So, I mean, he gets to call the shots. Like, you get it, I get it. But the question is taking those fights from the American continent and putting it in Saudi, while it's good for Saudi, to what extent is that good for American boxing? And I would humbly submit to you it's pretty bad for it. That's not your problem, I understand. But listen, if I lived in Saudi Arabia and they're bringing all this stuff over, I'd be thrilled. I totally get it. I'm just saying there's bigger considerations at play, and, like, you know, what's healthy for the American market. Taking all the big fights out of here and putting them there, it's not. I'm telling you, dude, like, I'm in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever seen boxing this low. Like, it's just in a bad place in the States, you know. They're allowed to oil up fighters to make punches land less clean. I know about Vaseline, but what the fuck? So they are allowed to do it for the face. I don't know anything about the body. Now, he could just be so understand something. He could just be putting that on to look good on camera. That is possible. I have heard about stuff like that. Guys think of it more like makeup versus some kind of oiling fight affecting factor. So it could be something like that. That sounds kind of crazy, but it can happen. C-Shank says, you are right about the MMA fighter says headline crap. Every MMA interview is the same inane or sometimes insane BS, and they are recycled and overexposed across podcasts and shows during fight weeks especially. Dude, people would be like, did you hear what Bryce Mitchell said? I'm like, dude, why would I pay any attention to that? Like what could possibly be said? You have 100 attention dollars to spend every day. How you're going to, from the moment your eyes open to the moment they close, the beginning of the day to the end of the day, you have a finite window to focus. You have a finite window. Why would you ever focus on Bryce Mitchell says X? Why? Adrian Broner says Z. Great. Unless he's talking about, like, his present situation and, like, you know, how he's doing or something. That's one thing. But like he's just giving his opinion on things he likes or what's going on. Like, who could possibly care? You know? The Hive says, are UFC cards going to be on this late next year, given how they are now on CBS Paramount, and we'll have to go up against college football? I don't think so. So I don't think you have to worry too much, but maybe. This gentleman writes, to be honest, Luke, I want good tattoos, but I have to get small ones because of health problems. Should I get the small ones or just pay a lot to build a good one? Start with a couple of small ones, go through the experience, but don't get a bunch of small ones. Get a couple, 3 at most. After that, figure out what you want. And if you're at that point, you're like, okay, I want a big one, go get a big one. All right, here's our walkout. Get my glasses. Here we go, boys and girls. I gotta say, it looks cool on TV. Oh, they've got special animation for it. CW Boxing, that's the club that Bud boxes out of or started out of in Omaha. Here comes Crawford. Who the fuck is this? Who's playing this music? Adam Jones and oh, this is Tool. I was gonna say the drummer looked familiar. Well, it doesn't have the singer, but it's got the band. I saw Tool at the Patriot Center in Fairfax, Virginia. Okay, I want to be cool. The drummer for Tool is one of the best drummers I've ever seen. But if I can be honest, it's 12:35 in the morning. Wrap it up, B. Wrap it up. I was gonna say, wouldn't it be? It's a very white guy thing to be like, "Hey, shouldn't Bud Crawford come out to 311 considering they're from Nebraska?" Dude, look at that crowd. That looks cool as shit. That looks super cool. Okay, here's a bunch of mariachis. See, I love this stuff. I just wish we were, this was still 11 p.m. versus almost 1 a.m. Thoughts on Kalinsky saying Charlie had it coming? People have been messaging me about things that Kyle Kalinsky has been saying, and I've not been keeping up with it, and I need to. I've not heard it, so I can't say anything. But I've heard some concerning things, or people have repeated to me their concerns. Yeah. Oh, look, it's the Ilya Taporia. What is it called? Mariachis. ¿Cómo se dice? I forget the name of the song. The ring. Look at the blue ring. How cool does that look? That looks sick. I guess I don't know why they're playing the mariachis when they've got Crawford imagery everywhere, but whatever. Mi corazón. All right. I don't know what the fuck we're doing here. I have been smoking heavily since 11 p.m. I can no longer see. What a waste of a Saturday night. Hurry up, main event. Yeah, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? Yeah. Morning Wombat says, was Canelo still getting his hands wrapped during the live? Looking, that could have been recorded previously. It did not necessarily, and they can just call it live. So I don't know. The production looks good, but I can't consider this a big success because the delays are so excessive. It's insane. It's insane. Just another dude says, had this membership for 16 months. Feels like I've been waiting longer for this main event. It's 10 a.m. where I am, but the pacing and action is making me reach for the drink. I feel you, brother. Believe me. I thought the fight should be over by now, right? By original estimates, the fight and the press conference should be over by now. Have you been tracking what Pablo Torre is doing on his podcast? Yes. Seems there's an appetite for investigative sports journalism rather than PR fluffing. Yeah, but you got to get good tips. That's the issue. You got to get good tips. Oh my God, bro. You're going to do all 3 verses? What the fuck? All right, here we go. Yo, look at that. Yo, he's coming out with the guitar? Okay, that's kind of sick. Coming out with the guitar like that? Remember, he came out with the net for Spence. Gonna catch a big fish. Remember that? That looks so sick. So he's walking out to Ilya Taporia's song. I mean, I realize it's not his song, but Ay, mi morena, mi corazón. Dude, Crawford comes out. Here's my official prediction. Ready? I said after I was there when Spence got, I was in the arena when Spence got destroyed by Bud. Here, I'll tell you the story very quickly. I was at Showtime. I was working for Showtime when Spence fought Crawford. And remember, Spence was a PBC fighter, and Crawford was at that time, or it just ended with Top Rank or whatever it was. But we didn't have access. Top Rank didn't give us any footage. They didn't give us any footage. And Showtime came to me and was like, hey, can you preview this fight for us? Like, do a breakdown for us. I was like, I mean, it's a dream come true. I would love to. But then they gave me all the footage that they had. And I came back to them. I'm like, I don't really have anything with Crawford. I can't make this work. And they said, well, fuck it. Okay, just do a preview of Spence then. Just do it because we have so much footage. And we had the Ugas fight. I went to the Ugas fight, and we had, Algieri, and we had, Porter, and, the whole 9 yards. They had everything. Kell Brook, you name it. And so I did the preview. I mean, dude, the tape on an Errol, at that time, undefeated. He was a pound for pound guy, southpaw, heavy jab. He had broken Kell Brook's face. He had broken several guys' faces along the way. He broke Ugas's face, right? He's just a face breaker, like just this demon. And I went in there to that fight being like, after doing all that work, I went into that fight being like, dude, I think Bud is like real good, but dude, the tape on Spence is amazing. And then Spence went in there and just fucking shellacked him, like it was nothing. And I said on that night, because of all that, I was like, I'll never pick against him again. But if he had gone up to 54 and fought Charlo, I would have picked him. But he's going not just to 54, not just to 60, but to 68. And I don't know if that's a bridge too far. I really don't. So here's what I'm going to say. I think the way that Canelo's been conducting his career, and I don't blame him for taking fights with like the John Ryders, like the mandatories of the world. But I think the Berlanga fight was disgraceful. I think the Munguia fight was frankly disgraceful. I know people disagree with me on that, but I'm sorry. I think that it was. He ducked the shit out of David Benavidez. So I think that what Crawford is trying is probably a bridge too far, but I absolutely hope he fucking wins. I hope he fucking wins because I think the way that Canelo has conducted his career, he's just been using his popularity just to take money from boxing, and I fucking hate that. All right, here he comes. Dude, he's about to bring the house down. These animations are fantastic. Bro, this is the Sphere show. You know what I mean? Like they did Noche UFC at the Sphere with all the like custom animations. Look at this. Got a mariachi band. They're awesome. Here he comes. All right, here's Canelo. There's all the belts. We were talking about the belts earlier, right? We were talking about the belts. Here they are. Dude, he's grossed $800 million. Juggy says, I got a non-boxing $100 chat to post for UMBC. My brain says, save it for your next MMA show, right? Yes. Save it for the next MMA show. Two Chang says, please check out Dan Lanning's comments today. Think you will appreciate it. Also, 2-1-2-1 combo for Crawford will be the key. Think Canelo wins split decision. Okay. Crawford Beaumaye. Roland Curtis off Vermont Avenue, like local Vermont Avenue. Trap Naps. I was watching a bootleg before I remembered it was on Netflix. No, it's on Netflix. You ain't gotta steal. Billy says, bro, this fight is never gonna happen. I've seen Tool 9 times, and yes, Danny is the best drummer alive. He's so freaking good. Michael says, MFers threw in a bunch of fights we didn't need and a mini concert before walkouts. Then no, there's no national anthem. I'm told there's no national anthem. They're skipping that. Thank God. Guess El Toro is replacing Canelo on short notice. What? What do I not get about that? All right, there's Canelo. Walkouts will begin in 2 hours. No, they're done now. Will Dana get tough questions tonight? I mean, he might get some. It depends how the main event goes, you know? This is not Ilya's walkout. I can barely hear it. So if I'm getting it wrong, I'm getting it wrong. I apologize. I just played an entire game of Dota 2 waiting for this fight. Thoughts on the commentary team tonight? Don't like Anik being there because it feels too much like UFC. People keep saying that, and I can appreciate that. I don't agree. I like Anik, so it sounds good to me. I think the commentary team has been great. Michael says, we will see UFC pay-per-views in stadiums now because you need a fight big enough to carry there, right? Want Bud to win, but sneaky feeling Canelo by KO. Wouldn't surprise me. I normally don't say this in boxing. So normally in boxing, what I say is that the range of what you can expect is a little bit more predictable. But in this particular case, because of Canelo's like relative decline and Bud's age and inactivity and the jump in weight, it's hard to know, right? Walk quick, show us some hustle. Oh, you're talking about them. All right, Stephen A. getting booed was worth the downtime. Be Dana White, complain about pacing in stadium shows. No wonder Turkey don't like him. Walk out so long it could be a one-fight card. You could do that, yeah. Despite all the glitz, the stadium sellout, and Netflix involvement, safe to say Turkey is losing a lot of money in this event? Probably. In Canelo $100 million, then probably. Can't comprehend the economics that justify the purse of the main event. I don't get the knocks on Anik tonight. I'm not giving him. I like him. He's good. Michael Buffer looks like a waxed. Hey, Michael Buffer is like nearly 80 and out here killing it. All right. All right. Boys and girls, do me a favor. Hold off on the super chats right now. Time out on the super chats because the fight's about to begin. And once it begins, I'm going to have less ability to go back and forth to them. I'm getting a little nervous now. Now I'm getting a little nervous. Save the super chats for the post-fight show. So right now they're doing the ring at the announcements and everything. All right, your judges: Tim Cheatham, Max DeLuca, Steve Weisfeld. I don't have strong opinions one way or the others about them, but other folks might. Thomas Taylor is your referee. I consider him to be a good referee. That's my opinion. We shall see. Save the super chats because what we're going to do is we're going to watch this main event together. I'm going to have a round timer. Let me move the round timer back down, as a matter of fact. Here, there we go. Turn that off. I'll have the round timer. And what we'll do is we'll watch the fight together, and then we'll go through the announcements and who won and whatever. And then we're going to go immediately on this stream into the post-fight show. Okay? We're going to go into the post-fight show. So while this is happening, I'm going to tell you guys one time, all live programming on this channel is brought to you by our friends at Toiletries, LT20, LT20, for 20% off everything site-wide. You can go to TOOLETRIES.com, toiletries.com, LT20 for 20% off. I'm going to leave this up here for all to see while these go on. Here's Terence Crawford, 41-0, 31 KOs, 5'9", 167.5 is what he weighed in at. And, of course, he's from Omaha, Nebraska. Dude, look at his whole team doing this. Look at his whole team doing this. Wow, man. Look at that site. Dude, it looks beautiful on Netflix. Boxing looks beautiful on Netflix. There he is. Canelo looks locked in, boys and girls. 5'8", 167.5, 63-2-2 with 39 KOs. Man, remember, if Bud wins this, he unifies all the titles in a third fucking weight class. There he is. Okay. Goosebumps time. I got him. I got him. I'm being told that the finger sign is a WWE thing. I don't know. All right, here we go, boys. Here we go. Here we go. All right, finally. Bud looks a little nervous, huh? Let's do it. Round one. Bud is southpaw. Look at that. Bud has come out southpaw. Pay attention to lead foot positioning if you can, depending on the camera angle. So there you can see right away Crawford parrying the jab, trying to come over the top. Canelo taking center. Interesting. Pay attention to the direction that Crawford circles. You can see he's trying to stay outside of that right hand based on foot positioning. So one thing Sean Porter told us was to see if you know that Bud can turn Canelo based on what you're seeing right here, right? Like that part's not necessarily that surprising. But the question is, can he back him up? And you know Canelo can back up Crawford. Hello, he's doing it now. But the other way around. Canelo right hand caught, left behind the elbow of Crawford, and it lands. Oh! Now remember, good combo from Crawford. Remember, Crawford took round one real light against Spence and then turned it up in round two. A lot of catching on the gloves from Crawford. Triple jab and strafing left from Canelo. I'm not sure if it landed or not. So you can see Crawford doing a lot of turning. Now Crawford has. Nice. Okay, here's the question you have to ask yourself. You can score that however you want. You can score for Crawford or Canelo. It's a very close round. The question you have to ask yourself is, a guy like Canelo consistently seems to get the benefit of the doubt to the judges. In other words, that round was close. Could you conceivably call it for Crawford or Canelo? I think you could honestly go either way. I have a feeling Canelo will take that just based on how I've seen judges react to what he does. I can't declare that to you, but that's actually what they're going to do, but something to keep in mind. So that left hook was nice, but it didn't do much, and the right one was just off the glove. All right, round two. Here we go. Round 2. Crawford still in southpaw. Good left hook to the body from Canelo. Good parrying of the jab from Canelo. Boy, Crawford is getting cornered here pretty quickly. Not cornered, but pressured. He's catching a lot, but like, dude, like Canelo is absolutely trying to be the bully here. Strafing left hook to the body. Can't, again, some of these camera angles are nice to see the fight, but a little hard to see what punches land. Crawford eats a shot to the body to get out of the corner. He hasn't done much in this round. Good shot to the body from Canelo. Nice. 3-punch combination from Crawford. A couple of those got through. Another left hook to the body from that left hook to the body has been a big, important weapon for Canelo. Once again, right back to it. He's trying to keep that jab hand holstered. He's trying to keep Crawford's jab hand holstered. Oof. Catch and shoot from Crawford. Didn't quite work, but he got close. Both guys miss. Again, Canelo going back to the body. Canelo with a good right hand. Oof. Canelo looks pretty good so far. Okay, round 2. Probably a Canelo round. I know Crawford did some good work towards the end there, but that was a little bit later. Canelo did a little bit more, especially those left hooks to the body over and over again, right behind that elbow. And you could see he nearly got countered more fully with that left hook, but Canelo's good about getting in and out. Boom. So again, I'm not judging it like a judge would. I'm trying to give you my general impression. 1-1, 2-0 Canelo, something like that. I doubt it's 2-0 Crawford. Here we go. Round 3. Stephanie McMahon. His last name is Paul Levesque. That's his name? All right, round 3. I'm going to have to bump the timing up a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, just a little bit. There we go. Good shot to the body from Crawford. Also doing a bit of a pin. You can see he's trying to flurry when he makes Canelo miss. That's a big component. Turns off the hook. Jab, turning. Yep, got Canelo to chase. But Canelo's right on top of him, man. Skipper's got Crawford up 10. Okay, big left hand from Crawford nearly scores. I don't agree. Canelo going hard to the body again. Crawford getting a little bit busier. Goes jab to the body. Oh, flurries off that hook. So he's waiting on that hook to the body from Canelo, that left hand to the body, and then flurries. That was nice by Crawford. That was really good. Good shot to the body from Canelo, at least a little bit. You know what? I give that one to Crawford. I thought he did the better work overall. So you could have it 2-1 Crawford. You could have a 2-1 Canelo, something like that, right? Mr. Beast wonder if he could pay them to fight in a ball pit. Competitive fight through 3. I can agree to that, right? We can all agree competitive fight through 3. Crawford looks to me, dude, he's fighting. For folks who don't know, Crawford is not a natural southpaw. He can fight southpaw beautifully. And in fact, remember, part of the big consideration was Spence, when Crawford fought him, had never really fought a very good southpaw before. And so Crawford went southpaw with him and then tuned him up. So here is the second fight. Well, not Madrimov is a little bit different, but basically the second huge fight that Crawford has had where he's gone to that's not his natural stance. All right, here we go. Round 4. Magic Johnson, baby. All right, round 4. Here we go. Pay attention. Lead outside foot positioning. Look at Crawford trying to flurry. Make Canelo miss and flurry. Look at that. Now he's opening up. Look at that. Catch, shoot. Caught to the ribs, uppercutted him. Starting to open up a little bit. Here comes Canelo chasing a little bit. Crawford's starting to open up, boys. Good left hand from Crawford. Now Canelo's pressuring. Let's see here. Man, Canelo had him cornered and let him out. Ooh, right hand almost drills Crawford. I mean, it got through, but it didn't hurt him too bad. Crawford doing a good job of turning on some of these punches to minimize the impact. So they're landing, but they're landing as he turns. Good shot to the body from Canelo. Another right hand from Canelo. That was nice. Another good left hand from Canelo. Canelo now opening up and getting through. Ooh, Crawford trying to go first and third, right? First to get a reaction, then go after that. Both guys opening up a little bit more. Crawford having some success. Man, these rounds are a little tough to score, if I can be honest with you. Right hand from Canelo. Well, I think both of them landed at the end. Bud smiling. I want to see that replay. I want to see that replay on the last one. Let's see that replay. Oh, that was that uppercut. Doubles on the uppercut. That was nice from Canelo. Excuse me, from Crawford. Excuse me. Canelo goes, boom, right hand. Some of that got caught on the glove. Man, look at Canelo leaving his feet to find Crawford. He's having to extend. All right, here we go. Round 5. There's Logan Paul. Mike Tyson, mouth breathing. All right, round 5. Honestly, boys, I think scoring could be all over the place. I really do. You might be thinking, oh, no. There's no way Crawford's not winning, blah, blah, blah. You could be thinking that. But, like, dude, the judges, I just don't see it like that. Dude, Skipper's got Crawford winning all 4. I guarantee you the judges don't. I absolutely guarantee it. And if there's a big discrepancy between the scores they show on the screen and then the scores that they ultimately get in the end, there's going to be rioting, but I just don't agree. Like you have to understand who Canelo is. Whoa. Good head movement from Canelo to avoid the worst of that. Good left hand from Crawford. He's backing Canelo up a little bit. Yeah, Crawford's trying to get a reaction. Doesn't quite get the one he's looking for. Oh, great body shot by Canelo. A little bit of a response there from Crawford. Catch and shoot from Crawford. Ah, Alvarez doing like a duck under. What the fuck is that? Oh, Both guys swing and miss big. Wow. Wow. I don't know. I don't know how they're scoring this shit, man. I'm going to get a drink refill. Hang on one second, y'all. I'm back. I won this at an auction. Not an auction. At like a no, what am I saying? An auction. At a it was like a fundraiser. And they were like, throw in $100 and then you can just grab any kind of whiskey you want. And I was like, all right. There's Deontay Wilder. Here we go. Round 6. Now, something to pay attention to because we're still in round 6. There typically is, so they gave the last round to Canelo, Skipper did, which I agree with. Good shot from Crawford. Canelo, Crawford drills Canelo coming in, but Canelo just eats it. Nice. Catch, shoot, clinch. I'm being told that our audience mostly has Crawford up. I'm not saying I disagree. Having seen so many Canelo fights where I thought that was the case, and then he goes and wins a decision, you're like, well, Crawford's smiling at him. Now he's talking to him. Look at that. Crawford's talking to him. Oh, both of them landing some good shots there. Canelo to the body. Man, look how good Crawford is. Look at Crawford taunting him. The point I want to make was, and you've seen this in other fights, Canelo good from rounds 1 to 6, a lot like himself, but then rounds 7 to 12, not like himself, or at least not like his prime version anyway. We're still in round 6. Let's see what happens in the next round, assuming we get there. Crawford doing a good job trying to disrupt Canelo's guard. Both guys trying to counter the other one. Missing. Look at that. Perfect example. They both catch and roll. These are good boxers, man. Shot to the body for Crawford. Canelo returns the favor. Crawford double jabs, goes to the body, then comes upstairs with the right hook. Look at the face talking to Canelo, taunting him. I think he feels good. Canelo looks focused, but a little angry. Wow. I think that's Crawford's round. That's definitely Crawford's round. Okay. So we just talked about it. You've got a Canelo from 1 to 6 at this stage of his career, and then 7 to 12. Let's see what it looks like now. Let's see if Crawford really begins to dial it up, right? Just score it. No need to predict judges' scorecards. Are you kidding? It's a Canelo Alvarez fight. You absolutely have to predict judges' scorecards in this one. I refilled mine too. Vodka and fruit smoothie. Close fight, so you know Canelo was up. That's exactly what I'm saying, bro. That's exactly what I'm saying. Boom. Crawford Look at that. Here we go. Round 7, big round, pivotal round. Let's go. Canelo and Crawford tie up. Crawford off the elbow block to the underhook. Crawford tries to, watch out for the head clash. A little bit of a head clash. Look at Crawford up in Canelo's grill. Touch, 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 and then changing the rhythm. Look at him right in Canelo's face, bro. Look at him right in Canelo's face. This fight is flying by. Canelo punching the arms. We've seen that before. It's a good idea by Canelo. Land on whatever you can land on. Hurt his arms if you can. Crowd getting a little restless. Crawford wants Canelo to go, but Canelo kind of wants Crawford to go. Ooh, kind of stuck in that corner. Let's see what happens here. And manages to roll out without punishment. Good defense by Canelo on that catch and shoot by Crawford. Dude, Crawford sees everything when he circles out. Five seconds. That might be a Crawford round two. Canelo only has 2 losses on a record, but he should have at least 6 if the judge. I mean, this is. It sounds like it's an aggressive statement, but it's really not that insane. It's honestly not. 3-2-1 Crawford. Vegas refs probably have Canelo up. Yeah. I guarantee you they do. Crawford looks good. All right, here we go. Round 8. Let's do it. Look at him, shoe shining on Canelo's body. Oh, catch and shoot again from Crawford. Nice shots on the inside. Now Canelo's shaking his head. Good shot to the body from Canelo. Canelo stalking. Dude, look at how fucking clean Crawford's footwork is. It's absurd. For as much moving as he has to do, and oh my God, that left hand. Holy fuck, bro. Canelo not hugely marked up, a little bit under that left eye. Dude, Crawford looks like he can take all of the punishment, such that there is any. Oh, very dangerous from Canelo. I think he landed to the body there with that left. Here he is again chasing. Dude, look at how often Canelo is. Look at Bud underhooking and turning him into the ropes. Look at how much he's getting Canelo to leave his back leg to follow him. Less than 30 seconds to go. Dude, Crawford just dancing in and out. I think Canelo took the round, but Crawford, like, look at how clean he looks. He's taking no damage. It's nuts. Dana on his phone. Yeah, but who knows who's texting him, in fairness. You know what I mean? All right, here's Canelo. Round 9. Here we go, round 9. Ooh, did Crawford rock Canelo? He definitely off balanced him. Dude, look at what the fuck? Dude, Crawford is landing on this motherfucker. Dude, they're just dueling. They're dueling in the middle. Oh my God. Oh, headbutt. 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 Time. Let me call Tom here on this one. I don't think he's cut. Oh, is there a cut? Oh, that. Yeah. The collision of the heads. Yep. Well, he's kind of leading with his head a little bit there. Here we go. Let's see if Crawford gets pissed from this. He's chasing a little bit now. A lot of catch and shoot from Crawford in this fight. Look at Crawford just waiting on that back foot. You see that? He's not even standing neutral. He's leaning this way, just waiting. Oh. Terence Crawford is popping Canelo, man. Dog, you got people in MMA being like, how would Ilya Topuria do against Crawford? Yeah, poorly. Poorly. Little light in action towards the back half of this round. Oof. I feel like Crawford has edged this round. By the way, you notice Canelo has kind of abandoned that left hook to the body, right? He started out early in this fight going to that over and over and over again. I haven't seen that in a few rounds. Clarification, I would like to see your scorecard per round and then reconcile with the judges round by round to pick out discrepancies, etc. Yes. I can't do that in real time. I can't both like look at this and manage this and score. My scores end up being like shit when I do it, you know. Max and Andre are not flowing together. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't think it's too bad. Well, they put some end swell on that. All right, here we go. Round 10. We're almost out. One more. Well, this one, and then we get the championship rounds. Let's go. Round 10. A little bit of that left hook to the body. It wasn't a big one, but you got a little bit there from Canelo. Man, I love this like touch, go, like inside boxing from Crawford. Mm. Oh, see, look at Crawford. Da 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 da. Boom, and then he changes rhythm and then intensity. Good job by Crawford to clinch. Man, I cannot believe Bud is doing this. Back to that left hook finally for Canelo. He abandoned it for a little bit. Good shot by Crawford to land, but he gets pressed against the ropes. And he's got underhook and inside head position. That matters. These flurries, dude, I know they've got to be scoring with the judges, right? Right? Dude, Crawford's athleticism looks fantastic. I got to say, Canelo still looks pretty good. I thought he'd drop off a cliff more than he has. All right, here we go, boys. Championship rounds. Championship rounds. Bud is clearly winning this fight. I agree. I agree. Let's see what the judges come up with. I agree. All right, here we go. Oh, they got 70,000 there. Nice attendance. That's more than I've seen for a live boxing event. I saw Spence fight Ugas at Jerry's World. I think that was 49 or 50,000. Look at him dueling, man. Man, Crawford's defense is so freaking good. Wow, they fight out of the clinch. They don't even need the ref to help them. Oh, my God, dude. Look at Crawford catching and shooting. Oh, dude, look at these pinpoint shots from fucking Crawford. Oh, dude. Crawford is fucking tooling him. Oh, that uppercut. Shot from Canelo. Look, Canelo looks frustrated. Did you see that? Crawford jabs low, then jabs high, and Canelo's like, ugh. 'Oh my God. Crawford lands again.' "30 seconds to go. Round 11. Dude, look at the catching and shooting of fucking Crawford. Five seconds. Bro, Crawford's winning this fight. Bro, Crawford's winning this fight, man. I don't give a fuck. Crawford's winning this fight. Canelo looks frustrated. Crawford is defending, getting hit with a little bit, but nothing too significant. Look at this. Look at this catch and shoot. Boom. Boom. Caught it. Boom. Dude, look at the short nature of what Crawford's able to do. That's a nice 1-2 punch. That was the big shot, the big combo that that Canelo landed. Outside foot positioning. Boom, boom, boom. Round 12. Here we go, boys. Let's do it. All right, here we go. They gave that last round to Canelo. Oh, no, that was round 10. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. This is round 11. Excuse me. What am I saying? I apologize. Sorry, y'all. I lost my train of thought. No, it's the round. It's 12? It is 12. Yes. Okay, I was right. It's 12. Sorry. Okay, here comes Canelo swinging like a motherfucker. I don't think it's wise for Bud to take this. Oh my God. Crawford sends a left hand home. Wow. Both land some jabs. Half the round's over. And lands another jab as Crawford tries to chase. Excuse me. Canelo tries to chase. Look at Crawford smiling. He's timing him. He's timing him. Less than a minute. Oh my God. Crawford got him again. Less than 20 seconds to go. Look at Canelo just covering up here. Look at Crawford fucking dealing. Dude, he's got Canelo wobbled. Crawford won that fight. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Oh my God. All right, boys. Oh my God. I think Terence Crawford did it. I think he did it. I think he did it. Now, hold on just a second, boys and girls. When this fight is over, this stream continues. We're going to do a post-fight show. All right? We're going to recap everything. All right? 84% of our audience have Crawford well ahead, according to the polls we have here on this channel. Wow, dude. Every time Canelo took a second off, he paid for it. Yup. Brian Campbell, 116, 112 for Crawford. That sounds about right to me. Save your questions for the post-fight show. I know we're all enthusiastic. Save your questions. That's your pound for pound number one and best of his generation. Let's see what they come up with. Oh my God, dude. Is he really about to do this? If Terence lost, I'll jump 12 times. 3 weight divisions. Y'all better respect my boy Buds. Okay. We're going to listen to the scores. We're going to hear what they have to say to the post-fight interviewer. I don't know if it's Max. I don't know if it's Jim Lampley. I don't know who it is. Here we go. 116, 112. 115, 113 twice. He did it. Bud Crawford. He fucking did it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Dude, Bud Crawford just beat cleanly, no judging fuckery, Canelo Alvarez. And it looked obvious. There's Dana White putting the belt on him. Look at Crawford's face. You could barely tell he was even in a fight. Dude, I can't believe what I just fucking saw. Here are all the belts being placed on Bud Crawford. Obviously, if you're listening now, please stick around. We're going to talk about all of this on the post-fight show. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you have just witnessed the most amazing boxing history maybe of my lifetime. Here's Max Kellerman. Gives all the credit to God. He's not saying much, just giving props to Canelo. Is this the last fight of your career? Says he doesn't know. Bud goes, thank you to all the supporters. Thank you to all the haters. Dude, I cannot fucking believe what I just saw. I cannot fucking believe what I just saw. All right, is he going to talk to Canelo? I want to hear from Canelo. There's Sofia Vergara. Here's Canelo. Yeah, so he thanks everyone for always supporting him, in Spanish. Do they have a translator there? I guess they don't really need one in Vegas, but, Doing all the same pleasantries, There's Busquets, Fabiano Busquets. So he's asking about a rematch. He didn't really answer. Wow. Canelo says he feels great 80,000 times. Okay, Max, stop sucking his dick, please. All right. I don't know how to translate animo into English, like spirit. I don't really know how to I don't know how to translate that exactly. All right, is that it? I think that's it. I'm going to mute this. Whew. Let me collect myself for a moment. Let me tell the people on Twitter that we're going to do the post-fight show, and then let's do the motherfucking post-fight show. Shall we? All right. Here we go. Let's do this post-fight show. Hang on one second, boys. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's take this off. I got to gather my thoughts here. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Luke Thomas. This is my official Canelo versus Crawford post-fight show. If you haven't yet already, please give this a thumbs up or consider subscribing. It would mean a lot if you did. If you have a question for the Q&A portion of the post-fight show, if you'd be so kind, you don't have to. I appreciate everyone just being here. But if you're feeling it, you'd like to give a donation into the super chat, you can put your question along with that. We'll get to that at the end of the show. Now, normally when I do these for MMA, I go through the entire card, and then I'm not doing that. I'm just going to talk about what we saw in the main event, and then a little bit about the production and everything else. Okay. Whoo. Okay. We have quite a bit to get to. All right. This is it. Let's talk about what we just saw. Terence Crawford made boxing history. Let's get to it. All right. Let's discuss, shall we? Canelo Alvarez versus Bud Crawford, Terence Bud Crawford, took place tonight at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada, with an attendance of nearly 71,000 to enjoy. It aired on Netflix, which is an important contribution. We'll talk about that in just a second. Excuse me, I've got a distracting thing here from Max Kellerman. I'm not even sure where to start. So let's just start with the basic facts of the situation. I cannot believe I am saying this, but I am saying this. He has now unified a third weight class, fully unified. What does unified mean for folks who don't know? It means getting all the belts in that weight class, right? And, well, you can actually unify and get like 2, but he's actually undisputed. So you get all of them. So unifying means 2, but like undisputed means getting all of them. He is now the undisputed champion, at least has become undisputed in now his third weight class. Crawford defeats Canelo Alvarez via decision, via the scores of 116-112, and then 2 of them had 115-113. No fuckery whatsoever. I cannot possibly overstate to you the enormity of this achievement. I know that the odds won't necessarily, the pre-fight odds won't necessarily tell you that, but that is, dude, Bud Crawford is, I don't know if my daughter's ever going to watch boxing. I don't know how that's going to go, but if she does, I can't wait to tell her that I lived through the era of Terence Crawford. I got to see it, and I got to see the Spence fight in person, and I was here obviously watching this one live with all of you. I said when Terence Crawford defeated Errol Spence in July of 2023 that in terms of what I had laid my eyes on, that was the best combat sports performance I'd ever seen. And I've seen some pretty good ones. I saw the reign of John Jones in MMA. We saw what Usyk has done recently at heavyweight. I mean, these are incredible achievers at the highest level of their sport. But I have to tell you, I wonder, and I don't know if I'm ready to declare this now, but I might be. I don't know if I've covered in the course of my career, which has now spent about 20 years, I don't know if I've covered a more talented combat sports athlete than Bud Crawford. I don't know if I have. I really don't. Mayweather was pretty talented. Mayweather moved up many weight classes. Mayweather didn't do this. Pacquiao didn't do this. This is beyond extraordinary. For my MMA fans who are watching, let's try to contextualize this. Bud unified previously, I believe, at lightweight, so 35. This fight was at 68. I want you to think of an MMA champion, a UFC champion at 135 pounds, who by the time they were 37 could move up to basically the equivalent of welterweight and just basically, it was competitive but outclass the reigning champion there. I cannot think of a single fighter in the fucking history of that sport who I would even consider to be a reasonable candidate for such an achievement. And that's exactly what Bud Crawford just did. His third weight class that he is now undisputed in. That is fucking insane. And he didn't do it with one up. Like he didn't go, well, he started at 35, but basically 35, then 40, then 47. And then we had one at 54, skipping 60 completely, and then 68, which is what you just saw here today. And he's got all the motherfucking belts doing that. I wasn't even sure if he could beat Spence in 2023 at 47. Look what he just did at 68. Bud Crawford, and this is no exaggeration, is probably the best combat sports athlete of my lifetime and maybe yours as well, irrespective of fucking age. I don't care if you're 24 or 64, he might qualify. He is one of one, 42-0, a talent beyond talent, a gift beyond gift. I don't believe many people are born to do X or meant to do Y, but that fucking guy was meant to do this shit. He is of extraordinary level. You will not see somebody come through like this anytime soon. People gave, because I lived through it, Mayweather his begrudging respect. And certainly Pacquiao had, and he moved up 8 weight classes. He had a lot of respect that he was given as well, but none of them dared like this. None of them could do exactly this level of achievement with this much of a uphill climb to get there, asking for absurd circumstances and shining, because he didn't just beat Canelo tonight. He looked like he was barely in a fight, and he even got a small cut from a head clash, I think midway or halfway or a little bit later in the fight. You would not even be able to tell if he had a tough workout or if he just went 12 fucking rounds with Canelo Alvarez. Bud Crawford is a singular figure in my life in combat sports. And when he argued all those years that he was denied opportunities, in part because he was a bad interview back in the day, that is true. And in part because I'm sure, as good as he is now, was he is exactly good back then? There are some questions about that as well. But there were promoter games that were played, and there were fighters who didn't want to see him. And as a consequence, he got a bit of a late start in terms of his ascension to the top of the boxing firmament. He got a bit of a late start in terms of people recognizing just how good he was. Hello, I am living proof of this as well. We all knew he was good. We all knew he was very good. We didn't exactly know how good he was. This is including before the Spence fight, even after he beat Amir Khan, and even after he beat, whoever the fuck. Like, you didn't exactly know how good he really was. You knew he was good. You didn't really know. And then when faced with the two biggest, seemingly, challenges of his career, a rival at 47 in Spence who has never been knocked down, never been defeated, was a pound-for-pound guy, and he fucking wiped the floor with him. Bit of a tougher matchup with Madrimov at 54, but up at 68 against Canelo Alvarez. I do not believe this to be peak Canelo Alvarez, but as we discussed, going up that far, you've never had a fight at 60, and this is your first fight at 68, and you made him look frustrated. His face was much worse than Bud's. Bud was laughing in his face. Bud looks like he went for a fucking long run, not a 12-round bout with Canelo Alvarez, a guy who's a devastating, proven puncher. What he achieved in the course of combat sports tonight will absolutely last the test of time. When they talk about the best to ever do it, who does that include? You're not going to make a list without Bud fucking Crawford on it. It's not hyperbole. It's not exaggeration. It's not, I'm saying things because I want more people to look at my stream. I am telling you the fucking truth. His fight against Spence literally moved me to fucking tears. And here he is against Canelo Alvarez. And when the first fight was first signed, I was like, oh yeah, there's no way Bud will lose. But then as the fight got closer, I'm like, well, dude, look what he's trying to do. He's trying to beat this promotional darling when it comes down to the judges' scorecards. It just always seems to go Canelo's way. That's true in the Lara fight. That's true in the Trout fight. That's true in, you can argue, a couple of Triple G fights and some other ones beyond that as well. And then you heard Max Kellerman say it tonight. We're talking about a guy who's got a claim for maybe the best chin in the fucking history of the sport. Certainly in my generation, never been knocked down. I mean, barely even gets wobbled. And dude, Bud Crawford maybe wobbled him a couple times, had him frustrated, bopped his head, demonstratively made him move in a way. I haven't seen anyone do that to Canelo in years. Years I haven't seen that. That was tonight one of the most impressive performances, and I mean this genuinely. Not just the 12 rounds itself, but everything it took to get to the 12 rounds. And then the 12 he turned in is one of the most impressive combat sports performances I've ever seen. And his fight against Spence, I consider that to be number one in my book. And I have seen virtually all of MMA, and I've seen quite a bit of boxing, and including other combat sports as well. That is up there with one of the best things I've ever seen, and will abso-fucking-lutely stand the test of time in boxing. Bud Crawford is peerless in this generation. He is the king. I know Inoue fights in like 4 hours, right? He's going to be fighting Murjan Akhmadaliev. God bless Inoue. I love the monster. You probably love the monster. I love the monster. He's fucking awesome. I don't give a shit what he does to Akhmadaliev. It cannot touch what you just saw today. And he could brutalize him in the first and knock him out. It won't matter because it won't mean the same thing. And God bless Usyk. If Usyk is not number one, then he's got to be number two, right? Because he's doing special things. Who was Usyk saying was going to win this fight? He's like, oh, Crawford. Crawford's the guy. Like, game, recognize, game. That is what that was. Dude, you spend so many nights either going to the fights themselves. If you're a real fight junkie, you know, you spend so many nights going to the fights themselves, or sitting at home watching, or going to the bar. And sometimes the fights are good and sometimes they're bad. But every once in a while, man, every once in a while, every turn of the screw, every few years, or maybe even not even that, maybe every decade, and sometimes maybe even once every couple of decades, a guy comes around and does something, just takes your breath away a little bit. And the enormity of what he achieved tonight kind of does that. Let's talk about the fight itself. It was competitive. It was competitive. This was not some, pillar to post ass kicking by Bud. That's not what it was. Canelo certainly won, as you saw the scores, 116, 112, and then 115, 113. He was competitive. 8-4, 7-5. He was competitive. And there were certainly rounds where you felt like he was leading. He had some of the better shots. But what Bud did in specifics, let's break them down. Number one, the catch and shoot. Oh my fucking God. The catching and shooting. You don't see a lot of catching and shooting in MMA. You see a little bit. For MMA fans who are watching this, you don't know what that is. Catching and shoot is like blocking and catching. You catch the punch and then you roll with it, or you can catch and then come up with the other one. So, there's different names for it, but catch and shoot. Dude, he was catching and shooting the whole first of all, before we even get to that, he fought it in fucking southpaw. Not even his natural stance. Just, hey, I'm going to fight this fucking guy at 68 in my stance. That's not necessarily my natural one. Holy fuck. And I know you can make arguments that he's even better in certain cases at this stance, but to be clear, he is naturally a right-hander, and he fought this one at southpaw. And of course, there were strategic advantages that came with that. I just want to point that out, right? So first of all, I did it in southpaw, number one. Number two, the catching and shooting was absolutely critical, both from the same side where he's catching and then those uppercuts, and then beyond that catch, he would catch and then go to the body, or catch and then the uppercuts. The uppercuts was so huge. He would get in tight with Canelo and allow Canelo to kind of drop his weight, lean forward, and then boom, he was catching him with it over and over and over again. And one of the most amazing things is if you look in slow motion, the mechanical efficiency of what Crawford does. He doesn't have a huge windup. There's not a lot of motion on it, but it's still fucking sticks every time he drives it through. That was absolutely critical. Critical. The catching and the shooting, getting Canelo to open up, catching it, and then waiting for an opportunity to either come around, come under, or come to the other side. He did that over and over and over again in this fight. So fighting out of southpaw, catching and shooting, the footwork. I mean, the guy was on his horse the vast majority of this time, right? Circling one direction and then the other. And even when he was trapped against the ropes this way or in a corner that way, how good was he at hiding just behind the glove? Like, he's got a real keen sense of exactly, is the hand supposed to be here? Is the hand supposed to be here? He's got a very, very keen sense of exactly where that hand was supposed to be, catching with it and then rolling back out to center, right? So the footwork, Canelo had to go find him and find him and find him and find him, and that wasn't doing him a lot of good. And then you're catching and you're shooting and you're going. So the footwork, the stance, the catching and the shooting, and then more to that, dude, he would play with rhythm constantly. So partly what he would do is he would, I think with the movement, he would pull Canelo into certain sides. I think that was part of it. But the other part, the other interesting component to me watching this fight was, in addition to like pulling him, he would go touch, 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 and then he would switch the tempo. So he's going on a singular tempo with a literal light touch. But then he'll go touch, touch, bang, hard to the body, touch, touch, bang, hook upstairs, touch, touch, whatever. Like playing with tempo, playing with how much power he's using in any of these individual circumstances. How many times did he would get Canelo to open up and come in, and he would catch him with a jab coming in. I mean, this happened over and over. Dude, his fucking Bud Crawford's vision, like what he can see and what he can anticipate. There was one moment where he was caught in the corner and you see him up like this and you can see his eyes fucking wide open. Canelo is right on top of him, raining down punishment, or trying to anyway, rain down punishment. And he's fucking hitting nothing. Or he's just, it's hitting off, bouncing off the gloves of Crawford. Crawford's fucking vision is absurd. He was able to get Canelo to open up. When he needed to. He was able to get Canelo to shell up when he needed to, which is part of that, like touch, 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 hard, touch, 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 hard, right? But that's all kind of part of it. On his bike when he needed to be, pulled him into circumstances when he needed to be. Dude, he was underhooking and turning Canelo into the ropes. There was conversation about like, what did it mean for Crawford to be at 68? Like, how was his body going to adjust? My read is that I don't think his power was necessarily overwhelming for Canelo. It was landing. Hello, he won the fucking fight. I did not see it as like overwhelming in that sense. However, what I did see was he was able to absorb Canelo's damage. No problem. And a part of that was because his defense was so stout. But even when some shots got through, dude, did it change? How many times did Canelo do something where he landed in such a way that you could tell Crawford had to adjust as a consequence? How many times did he get hit to the body and you could tell Crawford's like, oh, he doesn't like that. He's going to make some kind of adjustment so that doesn't happen anymore. Oh, whenever he circles that direction, Canelo's killing him for it, so he's just going to go there. You didn't ever see that. He didn't seem like he ever had to adjust his strategy based on the threat of Canelo's power. At 60 fucking 8. I mean, I can't call it a flawless victory because Canelo won at least 4 rounds, right? I think that's very fair. 4 rounds is fair. But I feel like Bud almost, I can't say he pitched a shutout because that's not real, but Bud was the superior pure boxer. And the questions of 68 were like, were there some limits on Bud's game? Yes. Yes, the punching power, I think, was limited. But he still was able to, it was still good enough. He was still able to pop Canelo. Dude, if anybody had to make adjustments based off of what one guy was doing, it was Canelo. Canelo was the one who had to make the adjustments, not Bud. They both did over the course of the bout, but I'm saying who looked like they had to change what they were doing so that they can have a greater effect because it wasn't working. Or they were like, threatened in some kind of way. It was fucking Canelo. Canelo had some good punches in this fight. I thought early on that left hook to the body, which he got away from in the middle parts of the fight, got back to it a little bit at the end. But again, he was catching and shooting was a big part of why that went away. Bud was like, bop, catching him for it. Several times he hit him with that. Canelo had a decent jab at times. That right hand was able to catch Bud cleanly a couple of times, but not really. Bud's face looked normal, fine. You would never have known he went 12 rounds. Remarkable. Remarkable beyond words, man. Remarkable. That is so, I fucking hope and pray that everyone who is I don't know what the casuals are going to say. I really don't. But for the real fight fans, the ones who are probably watching the stream, I hope you appreciate what you just took a look at. Daring to be great. Daring to do what people just basically, I mean, people have unified, or I should say, gone undisputed in 3 weight classes before, but it's exceedingly rare, right? And to go up such a fucking jump. And let's go over one more thing if we can here for just a moment. One of the things that like Bud has been trying to argue is that the boxing establishment has overlooked him. He was never their darling. He was never the guy that they picked. He was never the one that they chose ahead of time and was like, we're going to anoint you as our figure. He was never that guy, that was not him. And beating Spence got him a pretty far away in terms of like changing attitudes, but Canelo was the big one because Canelo was that guy. Now, Canelo, of course, earned everything he's gotten too. That's not the point. But like what I'm trying to say is Canelo was the promotional darling. Hello, the face of boxing. You know what I mean? And not just the face of boxing in this country, the face of boxing in another country. Dude, this motherfucker was the face of boxing worldwide, but in particular in North America, right? And something of a promotional darling and always the A side and this, that, and the other. And that was not Crawford's journey, man. That was not Crawford's, he was fighting the Ricky Burns of the world. That was not his fucking trajectory. And in beating Canelo tonight, what Crawford was trying to say is that like I could not through natural circumstances be boxing's darling, be their chosen son. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to pull the balaclava down and I'm going to take that motherfucker by force. And that's what he did on Netflix against the face of boxing, the biggest star in this market, as well as Mexico and many others, I'm sure. And just, again, against unenviable circumstances, ridiculous chin, judges always go in his favor, so many weight classes, I mean, you name it. And then just kind of cleanly beat him. A guy who never let the circumstances of the world dictate his position. He fucking made the world bow to him by force. Just took it by force. Bro, I've watched more fights than almost anybody you know. I have watched fights to a degree that is probably unhealthy. You know what I mean? Like, this is all I've done for decades, and I do it every fucking day. I cannot recall many things I've seen like this. How many special guys there are like this. If I may say a word about Canelo, what my official prediction was that I was like, I just thought Bud was trying to climb too high of a mountain, but then I said explicitly on Friday's MK, I was like, I think it's just too many favors in Canelo's side, but I really hope Bud wins. And the reason why I said that is because if Canelo stops his career after he unifies, I should say he goes undisputed, essentially the first time at 68 when he beat Caleb Plant. I think that was November or October of 2021. I was there for that fight. It was on Showtime. If he stops right there, automatic Hall of Fame. And he'll go to the Hall of Fame no matter what, obviously. Like, he's a Hall of Famer. And I felt like everything up to that point in his career was pretty goddamn commendable. Did he get lucky a couple times? Probably. But, in general, I had a lot of admiration for the kind of fighter that he was and the kind of game that he had, and what he represented in the sport. And then, just so many bullshit ass fights he took after that really left a sour taste in my mouth. And I understand that, like, he's trying to cash in on, listen, he's done a lot. That's true. He's a Hall of Famer eventually, no question in my mind. But that the Berlanga fight was bullshit. It was a bullshit ass fight he never should have took. And frankly, the Munguia fight was a bullshit fight he never took. And the fact that he ducked David Benavidez really rubbed me as a fight fan the wrong way. It's like, it's very easy for me to say, hey, go risk your health for this guy, but you got the belts, motherfucker. Either do something with him or don't. And he just wanted to keep them. And the sanctioning bodies let him keep those belts without defending against David Benavidez. And dude, I don't think he got sharper in that time. I think he came into this fight as prepared as he could be. He looked to have good conditioning. He looked amazing on the scales. And, I think in general, he didn't fall off around 7 to 12 as much as I thought he could or was possible. But I thought that this last chapter of Canelo's career was, and I'm not going to mince words, I thought it was disgraceful. To see what he did here, turn it into a commendable performance, but to see the game anoint the guy who never got the handouts, who never got was never the promotional darling, who was, and partly by his own fault because he was beefing with everyone at the time, including Bob Arum, but was just never that guy. Was never that, let's give this guy the push. To see him at this stage just take it by force against a guy who, to me, has been kind of coasting for a few years. I got to tell you, it doesn't make me feel bad. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and dance on Canelo's grave, but it doesn't make me feel at all. A little bit of justice, if I'm being honest. A little bit of karmic justice in there. He dodged David Benavidez like a motherfucker. And that, and I understand, like, he knocked down John Ryder, like 2-3 times in when that fight was in Guadalajara. But, dude, that fight against Berlanga was disgraceful. It was disgraceful. And I think, PBC put it on because they need money and Canelo can sell even fighting the Berlangas of the world. But that fight was disgraceful. It was disgraceful for him to take it. It was really, I felt like it was a slap in the face to fans. I suppose if you're a big time Canelo fan, you're like, whatever. We just want to see him go, and you just want to see the great white shark just eat prey or whatever. But I felt it was like, dude, somebody needs to do something to, like, make boxing feel special. And that wasn't it. He was just kind of coasting on the fame and the adulation and the earnings he had already achieved. And that's great. He should have. Like, he did amazing. But at some point that comes to a close. It's like, if you're still going to have the belts, you got to do something with him. And he just abdicated that responsibilities, and the sanctioning bodies fucking let him. It's good that Bud Crawford won. It is good. It's actually good for boxing that Bud Crawford won. There's a little bit of justice in that. I don't know if Canelo will ever take the lesson that way. I don't know if any of his fans will take that way. I don't even know if you will take it that way. But I took it that way. I felt that it was shitty. I thought it was shitty of him to spend the last however many years dodging David Benavidez with everything in his fiber of his being, and to see Crawford go out there and, not put a beating on him. That's not what happened. But to just out-slick him, outbox him. Just, dude, Bud Crawford was technically a better pure boxer tonight in every way. He just was. He was better defensively, and he was better offensively. He had a better strategy. He had better execution. He had better movement. He was better, comprehensively better. And Bud earned it. And in his own kind of perverse way, Canelo earned it too. Sorry. I feel like there should be shame for ducking like that. I do. If you're going to be a prize fighter, and that's one thing, and you're going to hold on to the belts, you have a responsibility. Let go of the belts. You can go fight whoever the fuck you want. I really don't care. I mean, you get disappointed, but, like, you're not holding anything hostage, But you hold the belts. It's the same thing I said with John Jones, like just holding the belt hostage and then laughing at everyone's face. And he went and apologized to Dana because he knew he fucked up. Now, Canelo's in a different space. He's already achieved, a bunch, and he still stayed active. He wasn't as bad, but anyway, you get the idea. This was massive karmic justice, perhaps in two directions simultaneously. Do you have an appetite for a rematch? I wouldn't say no. I could see a reason to do a rematch. I don't know if they will. Who the hell? I can't. I don't know if Turkey's saying anything. I don't know if Dana's saying anything. I don't know who's saying what. Hold on just a second here. I got like a million text messages. Huh? What? Okay. No, sorry. Anyway. Can we talk about that broadcast? So first of all, let me say this. I thought Max Kellerman and Andre Ward and John Anik, for the first time doing this together, were actually pretty good. I didn't love everything about it, but I liked a lot. I know some boxing fans, they feel like they associate John Anik too much with UFC. I leave that to them. I know John Anik. I like him a lot. I don't feel that way, but to each his own. I understand that perspective. But I did think that they worked well together, from my opinion. In my opinion, for whatever that is worth, I thought they worked well together. I thought that the broadcast itself was visually stunning. Beautiful broadcast. I fucking looked at it. It looked like it was every frame a painting. I mean, it was just so good. The arena looked good. The visual production elements looked good. The ring apron with the big lights and everything, it all looked beautiful. I loved every part of it. Like, that was so great, I love the pomp and circumstance. I love that they put that in Allegiant. That should have been in Allegiant. That should not have been in T-Mobile. That was fantastic. The pacing fucking killed me. It killed me. It absolutely killed me. They did not start the main event until 12:30, and arguably almost I think closer to 1. I mean, we're getting between 3.5, 4 hours before your main event starts. This is not a great idea. You just can't be doing shit like that. And they were telling media that the start time, the ring walks, were going to be at 11 p.m. East Coast time. Like, is that what we got? That wasn't what we got. That was fucking a nightmare. Like, please don't do that shit again. It's clear that they know how to make a show, and it's clear that they know what a show should look like. They nailed it. But probably could have been a few lesser production elements, but more importantly, if the fights are going to take that long and you can't rely on them, just have 3. And if you have to have a post limb or something, then have a post limb. But don't. We can't be waiting 4 hours for the main event. Like, it's just that seems to me a non-starter. And I honestly feel like, as someone who pays their ticket or just watching online, I know this was free on Netflix or whatever, free. You know what I mean. That's not that big a deal, but still, like, it's a big ask for people. Like, this was supposed to be over quite some time ago. So, I give the show itself, B+, A-, probably closer to A-. But the historical significance of what you saw tonight will absolutely stand the test of time. It will stand the test of time. I saw a bunch of Floyd's fights. I don't feel any way about any of Floyd's fights like I feel about Bud and Spence and Canelo. Bud versus Madrimov is obviously quite forgettable, or Bud versus, as I mentioned, Ricky Burns, or fucking even Gamboa, those won't stand the test of time. This one will. And the Spence one will. I don't know if I feel about that. I mean, I guess you could say, well, that's not true. There's a couple of Floyd fights that are like that, right? But you get my point. Like, most of those were Pretty Boy Floyd, not Money Floyd. You know what I mean? There's a difference. All right. If you've got a question for the chat portion, let's talk about it. We'll pull that up now. By the way, our friends at Toiletries, LT20, 20% off site-wide for things like, right, a scalp brush, for things like, where the fuck is it? How about this, bitches? How about this? Comb your shit, clean it up. How about this? LED light, waterproof. You can do it in the bathroom. Ear, hair, and nose trimmer, the whole bit. This thing works like a fucking, perfect. Couldn't be better. USB-C rechargeable. So whenever you charge your phone, you can charge this thing up. It's got a light on it. Dude, there's shit. Listen, what do you want from products when you buy them? You just want them to work. Does it work? If I pay this money, I'm not asking does the thing operate? Does it do the things that it says it's going to do in like collectively? Is this a value that I can hold on to for some time? Yes. And I'm going to give you 20% off because of our friends at Toiletries. TOOLETRIES.com. Toiletries.com. LT20 for everything site-wide. All right. Let's get to your questions. Three weight divisions. Ooh, let me turn this off. 3 weight divisions. Y'all better respect my boy Buds. Brother, how can you not? A draw here is a robbery. A draw? I agree, dude. A draw would have been a robbery. That's absolutely true. Avant says, best boxing performance I've ever seen in my life. I don't think that's hyperbole. It wasn't for me, but I get it. I get it. Hype dudes are insufferable. Bud was incredible, though. I mean, I am who I am, brother. What can I tell you? Zenpai says, with 80% of people doubting him, he ate Canelo up. It's a little strong, but yes. It's a little strong, but yes. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we need a BC call-in chat tonight. He's busy right now. I can text him. Want me to text him? Nah, I got to save it for MK. All right. Timmy says, if they unify the middleweight belts sooner rather than later, does Bud get a shot at a 4th undisputed belt? I mean, I don't know. It's a good question, but I don't even know if Bud's going to fight again. I interviewed, there's a Bomac interview on this channel. I don't know if it's still up. It is for members. I interviewed Bomac, his trainer, the big old fat guy, Bomac. And I asked Bomac, I was like, what happens if he beats Canelo? He's like, no, he's done. That's it. We're not doing anything after that. I mean, maybe he'll reconsider. I don't know. You know, God only knows if Turkey comes to him with some insane fucking purse that he might change his mind. But they told me that was done. Benavidez would have cooked. Yeah, no shit. That's why he ducked him, dude. That's why he ducked him. Did American boxing need this? I think it did, dude. American boxing needed fucking spectacle and history and fun and tension and delight and scariness and all the things that come with a big fight night. It needed that tonight. I mean, they can't save it, but it needed it. I got to say, if Trump had ICE waiting outside the stadium for Canelo and his team to pour salt on the wound, I'd actually respect it. All right, well, that's a weird thing to say. Bumpa says, Crawford won 116, 112, but you're a Canelo hater, bro. Well, sort of. I mean, I was a Canelo fan most of my life, but if you think that the last chapter of his career is anything other than ignoble, then you're a dick rider. So I'll be the hater if you want, if that makes you feel better. But then you also have to be this guy. All right? If I'm the hater, fine, then I'm the hater. But that's you. That's you, okay? So I'll be the hater, but that's you, okay? You can tell Canelo is gutted. He's holding it in. I believe it. Canelo looked flat, old, and slow. A little flat, a little old. I didn't think he looked super slow, but he's been looking that way for a little while. Canelo 100 million, Crawford 10 million. Run it back and get paid that oil money. I bet he gets more than 10 in the end. But yeah, I know that's what they had announced. Yeah. Crawford is the man. Brandon, yes, he is. Chloe says, maybe now Canelo will take boxing, or Matt, whatever, will now take boxing seriously. I mean, he took boxing seriously for most of his career. It's just the last few years that have been like, ugh. You know, I don't know what he'll do from here. It's a good question. What does Canelo do from here? I don't know. Again, there's the rematch is up for grabs. I don't know. We'll have to see. Bud is clearly all-timer level. Canelo is not. Canelo is a Hall of Famer, bro. I mean, I'm the first person to be mad at how his career has gone of late, but no, he's an all-fucking-timer too. Tokyo says, let's fucking go. For a brief moment, nothing mattered besides this fight, and boy, was it ever worth it. Happy to have experience with you, not gay. It's okay if you are, but I appreciate it just the same. Timmy says, on a wet noodle to frozen steak, how big were your pants tent when Bud walked out to Canción del Mariachi? That's what I knew. That's what it was. It was. I thought it was more funny, so I'll say closer to Jello. How about that? Rematch, bourbon or rye? What is this? What am I having? This is rye. Yeah. I'd be okay with a rematch. I don't know what your mileage is like, but I'd be okay with a rematch. Fofo says Bud is him. What an insane performance. Dude, how slick and precise was everything? Bop, bop, bop. I mean, every hand was where it needed to. He never messed up his defense ever. It just seems like he makes boxing look way easier than it is. Seemed Dana had little input into the broadcast except half of the Tool playing with poor sound. I don't know what that was about. I don't know why they had. Don't get me wrong. I love Tool. Stinkfist, great song. But I don't know why they were there. I don't know what that was about. Incredible performance from Crawford. Yeah, it really was. It really was. Right and Wrong says, best display of counterpunching since... I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's a question for BC. Well, I'll ask him that on Monday's MK. Yusuf says, what is the MMA equivalent of what Crawford achieved tonight for MMA fans who tune into boxing sporadically? Marab beating JDM. I mean, that's not quite right, but yeah. Something like that. I mean, again, that's not quite right because he's been bulking up since then, but something like, or how about this? Dominic Cruz eventually bulking up and then beating JDM. Steven says, what other fights from the past of this stature compare? I mean, by every metric, and as someone living in Lincoln with the Sixers and Bud, the Skurs. Oh, yeah, sorry, the Huskers and Bud. It's a big selly. What other fights from the past of this stature compare? Well, Sugar Ray Leonard, I think, went undisputed in 3 different weight classes. So you could go look at his campaign. There's been a couple other ones as well. I think Mayweather went up 6 or 7 weight classes. Pacquiao went up 8. I think De La Hoya went up 5 or 6. So there's guys who've definitely moved up high amounts, but they've never become undisputed in those weight classes to the same degree. But any of those campaigns are going to be worth your time. Midnight says, nah, bro, I smoked a J as I watched that. That was magical. Terence is fucking sick. Anik was awesome. Production was amazing. Minus that Mexican song that played too long. I didn't mind that. They just should have gotten the main event started earlier. That's really the whole issue. Dave says, this was a great time. Thank you. Henry says, after seeing this great performance from Bud, it would be amazing for him to fight Benavidez. He ain't gonna, bro. Could he also outbox Benavidez, Luke? I don't think so. I think Benavidez would move down fucking hill on him, and it would be ugly. I think Benavidez would stop him. Crawford stopping him seemed like a long shot, but not for Benavidez. Now, granted, Benavidez is at 75 now, so it's not really, I mean, whatever, but Mark says, I'm not sure about number 1 pound for pound. I tip Usyk, but regardless, it's 37, 38 years boxing's prime. Well, when you're an extraordinary talent, it might be. For everybody else, I think it's not. I think it's closer to a death sentence, but it's a good question, right? Josh says, I love that fight. Love seeing greatness. From my point of view, Bud didn't look more than 6 to 8 pounds smaller. How many pounds apart do you think they were in the ring? Probably close to 10. No more than 10. Because Canelo did look bigger. And I do think he was punching harder. But, not much more than that. Very generous donation here from David. Thank you. Fallen Fight Fan, with respect, all 4 princes in their prime thrash Crawford. Sorry, my credentials. Ali Spinks 1 was my first. Wow. Understanding you said your lifetime. Well, maybe not thrash. I'm a few beers in. Yeah, you listen. You're talking about Hearns, Hagler, Duran, Leonard, all those donks. Do they thrash Bud? I don't think any of them thrash Bud. But to make your point, maybe we can come onto common ground on this. That's whose company we're talking about. That's whose company we're talking about. Right. Legendary all-timers win big fights under the brightest lights. Yes, they do. And dude, like these, and you saw he was coming out to the mariachi song, like, and again against Spence, he came out with Eminem with the fishnet. Like, dude is just, I mean, when the lights are on, that's when he's the happiest, not when he's feeling the most nerves. Egod says, I'd love to see a rematch just for Bud to get a mega payday. I can agree to that. He's so special. He deserves all the coin. Will they run it back? I think that they probably will. There's too much money in it, right? How big is Bud's W in boxing history? It's one of the biggest W's I've ever seen. And now, in the great expanse of 100 years, that's a question that's beyond my pay grade. But certainly in my lifetime, that's one of the most special ones I've ever seen, if not the most. Every time I watch Canelo, I'm not impressed, and he looks like he is losing, and then somehow he wins a decision. I don't think beating him makes you number one pound for pound. It does if your natural weight class is 47. Henry says, true or false? Canelo and Crawford rematch in May 2026. I'll say true. Canelo finishes his career fighting David Benavidez in September 2026. I'll say false. He's never fighting David. He's never fighting David. Two Changs. Bud just had the more impressive weight jump. Yep. Joshua, he should leave 42-0 and historical champ. I agree that there's a good case for that. But what if Turkey comes back and is like, how about 50 million? Like, you know. COO says, Bud beyond amazing, but Canelo was so slow and inactive even compared to Triple G fights. Shilling for Dana TK on the broadcast was constant and annoying. I agree that the shilling was annoying. Henry says, Bud is amazing. He should do the unthinkable and challenge Alexander Usyk at heavyweight. It's crazy, but how would that go, Luke? No. Usyk is way too fucking big. No. Terrible. He can't take punches from Usyk. No. Like, that is not even, like, possible. No. Dev says, who wins, Prime Floyd or Crawford? Honestly, depends the weight class. I would pick Crawford. You're going to laugh at me. I'm going to pick Crawford. Son of Sammy Davis. What's up? MK all day. Thank you, my friend. The way Canelo was fighting, it honestly looked like a retire. You guys are making Canelo out to be like he looked like shit. Canelo did not look like shit. He does look older than he's clearly post-prime. He did not look like shit. Be roommates with Burt Kreischer or live in Bridgeport, Connecticut? I'll live in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Lucky is kind for Triple G. Adelaide Bird, clenbuterol. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, I'm talking somewhat euphemistically about how some things have gone for him in the fight game. Lucky is one way to describe that. Who is better, UFC Noche as a card or main event of Canelo Crawford? Well, listen, the Noche card had more insanity, but the specialness of Crawford to me exceeds that. UFC Noche was better. By the way, first of all, it's Noche UFC. They flip it. But what I'll say is, listen, I'm not going to police fight fans about what they like and don't like, unless it's power slap, and then I will police. But what I would say is, if you feel that way, that's cool. But I hope you can appreciate what you saw today. Two Chicks said Floyd had better reigns from 30 to 54, Bud better at 68. Well, I mean, but Floyd didn't fight at 68, so I'm not sure how to respond to that. I'm not sure what you mean here exactly. Jake Paul versus Canelo next. Honestly, dude, you might see that for a monster payday. You might see that. Now, if Gervonta tunes him up, then no. But if Gervonta loses, which I will, honestly, not because I think Jake's all that good, but like the size difference is enormous. Like, can't Turkey afford all members of Tool? I don't know what happened there. It's a funny joke. Eric with a very generous donation. Thank you. Why do boxers make so much more than MMA fighters? And is there anything we can do as fans to help fighter pay? Not really. They make it because there is federal legislation that requires, that prevents promoters from having titles and rankings. And it turns out if you give the promoters the ability to control titles and the ability to control rankings, and therefore ultimately the contracts themselves, which then become coercive, it binds them in such a way that they're never really in a position to be able to sell themselves as free agents or negotiate with leverage in such a way to boost fighter pay. There's also some other federal protections that do it, but that's basically the answer. John was still excellent for play-by-play, and Ward gave solid insight. I thought Max was good. Max's issue was he couldn't stop just sucking turkey's balls the whole time. That was the issue for me. But when it came time for like boxing analysis, I thought it was pretty good. Luke, if you have a chance, listen to the Boxing Gems commentary from tonight. Gems had inside knowledge to the game plan. Oh shit! All right, I am a subscriber to their Patreon, so I'll do that. Jägermeister says, I'm a chubby purple belt with bad tattoos. Can you roast me, please? You just told me you're a chubby purple belt with bad tattoos. What more do I need to say? Rematch doesn't look any different. I would agree. That doesn't mean that there's not money in it, though. That's the issue. Kellerman told Bud he never beat anyone great. Yeah, that's a little much. Luke, is it me or has Max Kellerman lost a step or two? I think he's rusty. I don't think he's lost a step or two, at least not yet. We don't have enough information to declare that. Big Fish Podcast. Thank you, my friend. Oh, we got a message here. Okay, let's see. In MMA, I think it would be easier to win an MMA fight going up 30 pounds in a boxing match because you're not having to stand in front of a bigger guy and get punched. Exactly true. Exactly true. You're totally right. Zach says, the most underappreciated elite boxer of all time. Maybe not anymore. Up to this point, that's been true, but maybe not anymore. Only just joined. Sorry if answered. How do you compare Usyk and Crawford in terms of legacy? Well, Usyk's different because he had success at every level, including the amateurs, which Bud did not. I mean, Bud had success, but not like Usyk. And Usyk's in a different place because, you know, he went straight from cruiserweight to heavyweight. I mean, you can unify Bridger weight, but what's that going to do for your legacy? So the problem is he doesn't have the space, or the space is so open where he's at. It's harder to have a meaningful impact. But like, could you argue that he's more talented than Bud? You could argue that. The difference is that Bud has more accolades because he's in a denser place where there's more to achieve. So Hale, the MMA equivalent to this is more like Khabib moving up to light heavyweight 4 years ago and beating John Jones. Yeah, like that too. I largely agree with that. Yes, it's insane. Little buckets, thank you. Crack City. What about Boots? Yeah, what about Boots? Boots needs to take a fight with somebody we care about, you know. Chad says, Crawford beat Canelo worse than Bivol beat him. No, Bivol fucked him up a little bit. That's not quite right. I mean, the scores might be different, but like Bivol was moving downhill on him. That's a little different. Can Crawford beat Bivol? No, he cannot. Love you, Luke. Best wishes. Thank you, sir. Company. If you're talking about company, then you better talk about competition. 70s, 80s, 90s fighters are a little different breed than today's fighters. I'm not pulling the My Generation card. My eyes don't lie. I don't know what he means by company. Oh, you mean like the company he's keeping? Yes. I'm saying Bud is, you can historically debate who's what, but like, where does Bud belong in terms of conversations about all-timers, particularly even at 47, like the Haglers and the Hearns and what they meant for their era. Bud is equivalent now, and I think their achievements will be either on par or one will exceed the other. Eric, thank you for becoming a member. Jalen says, is there nothing Inoue can do to be pound for point? Dude, this is the thing. Inoue's fight, like Akhmadaliev is one of the guys that people have been wanting to see Inoue fight. So this is an important fight for Inoue, but it's not the same as this. It's not. You can't. Lord of the Pies. Kellerman was brutal in the main event post-fight interviews. I could tell he was rusty there. And you notice he took real long pauses and shit. You know what I mean? All right, y'all. It's been a long day. And I'm tired. And I bet you're tired as well. And I have to get up and be a dad tomorrow. So let's call it a day. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Thumbs up if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't. Please be so kind as to do that. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. You guys are the best. Thank you for being here. Thank you to anyone who donated. Thank you to anyone who subscribed. Thank you to anyone who watched or liked or shared this. I really appreciate all of you. I love you all so much. Get some sleep. What a day. We'll talk about it more tomorrow, and I'll see you all on Mondays, MK. Until then, get some sleep.